Ezra Perek Zayin, Chapter 7. If you remember, Chapter 6 dealt with the Jews finally being able to rebuild the Second Temple, and specifically Chapter 6 took place in the time of Vishetz. Look at verse Tetvav 15, Visheta Baita Dina, and they finished building the temple Ad Talat Diyarcha de Adar. On the third day of the month of Adar, that was when they finished building the Second Temple. Dihi Shinat Shet, which was the sixth year. Shet is Shesh in Hebrew, is Shet in Aramaic. The sixth year, Lamalkut Daryavish Malka. So chapter 6 ends in year 6 of King Darius. And now we will continue with Ezra chapter 7. V'achar hadvarim ha'ela, and after these things. It doesn't tell you how long after, but it says after these things. Malchut artakshatata melech paras. Apparently a new king is king. We no longer have King Darius, Daryavesh. We have King Artashakta, otherwise known as Artaxerxes, who is now the king of Persia. And at this time, when Artaxerxes is now the king of Persia, Ezra goes up from Bavel to Eretz Judah, to the land of Judea, to the land of Israel. Ezra ben Shariah ben Azariah ben Chokia, and it tells you who Ezra is. Ezra gives you an entire genealogy. Ezra ben Shariah ben Azariah ben Chokia ben Shalom ben Tzadok ben Achitub ben Amariah ben Azariah ben Merayot ben Zerachiah ben Uzi ben Buki ben Avishua ben Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen HaRosh. And specifically, you might recognize some of the names at the end. Ezra is ultimately descended from Pinchas, who's descended from Elazar, who descended from Aaron, and that makes Ezra a Kohen and a descendant of Kohanim Gedolim. So Ezra, who the book is named after, only appears in the book of Ezra in chapter 7 during the year of Artaxerxes, which apparently is sometime after the year of Darius. Who Ezra? This is the Ezra, Allah mi Bavel, who went up from Bavel, who sofer makir b'Torat Moshe, and he was a great scribe in the Torah of Moshe. Asher natan Hashem Elokei Yisrael, that Hashem, the God of Israel, had given the Torah of Moshe. Yitin lo amelach yad Hashem Elokav alav kol bakashato. And the king, in this case Artaxerxes, gave Ezra anything he desired. We're going to see that Ezra has full permission of the king to organize the Jews in Judea any way he wants. V'ya'alu b'bnei Yisrael, and he not only went up himself, but he led another aliyah. This is the third aliyah after the aliyot of chapter 2 and chapter 1 of the book of Ezra. And with him went up Kohanim and Leviim and Mishorarim and Shoarim V'netinim El Yerushalayim. You might recognize these people from earlier in the other aliyot. The same groups of people, the Kohanim and the Leviim, and the Shorim, who are the singers, and the Shorim, who are the gatekeepers, and the Tinim, who are the people of questionable lineage, the Gibeonites. They go up. And when do they go up? And this becomes very important for us. Bishnat Sheva La'artashata Hamelach. They go up on year 7, and now we are in year 7, and year 7 of Artaxerxes. So whereas chapter 6 ends year 6 of Darius with the building of the second Beit HaMikdash complete, chapter 7 begins in year 7 of Artaxerxes with the Aliyah of Ezra from Bavel to Yehuda. V'yavo Yerushalayim b'chodesh hachamishi, they arrive in Jerusalem on the 5th month, Hishanat HaShvi'it L'melech, which is the 7th year of the king. Now we are going to stop here for now, because we are going to discuss a very important question in class, and really we're going to introduce this question in the rest of this video, which is, when does all of this take place? Now obviously you'll say, we know when. It takes place in year 7 of Artaxerxes. But the question is, in reference to the previous chapter of Ezra, the previous chapter ended year 6 of Darius. We know exactly when that is. When is year 7 of Artaxerxes? Now you might say, why do we care? We're going to see later why this is very, very important, not just for establishing a chronology for the book of Ezra, but really for establishing a Jewish chronology dating all the way from Briat Olam, the creation of the world, until today, which could be very relevant for us even in the year 5772 in 2012. So let's discuss this just a little bit. So, if we start with Rashi, and Rashi explains on the very first pasuk of chapter 7, V'achar advarim ha'ela b'malchut Artashatata melech paras. So we are now after this time during the kingdom of Artaxerxes, and that's when Ezra comes up. And Rashi immediately said, V'achar advarim ha'ela, after these things, what events did this chapter follow? It follows the binyan habayit, and specifically, who is Artashata? Artaxerxes is not a different king according to Rashi. He is the same king as Darius, which makes for a very interesting situation if you go back and look at our parak. So chapter 6 ended with year 6 of Darius, and chapter 7 begins with year 7 of Artaxerxes. If Artaxerxes and Darius are the same people, then in reality chapter 7 conveniently takes place 1 year after chapter 6. There is no time span in between the two chapters from in the book of Ezra, and Ezra comes up during the 7th year of Darius. So just to look at this and to see how this affects everything. So according to this, how many kings, according to Chazal, according to Rashi, how many kings in the Persian dynasty would there be? So let me just bring this to the front, and you'll see here a little Jewish chronology. We will have only 4 kings in total. We'll have Darius, the Mede, really is king only for a few months, and then Cyrus, Koresh, who we learn about, followed by Koresh is Achashverosh, and followed by Achashverosh is Darius the Persian, and this Darius is the same person as Artaxerxes. And then comes Alexander the Great, and something we're going to learn about in class called Minyan Shtarot. Altogether, if you do the math, 369 to 317 is approximately 52 years for the entire Persian dynasty. Now, why is that such a big deal? Because if you take a look at the conventional chronology of historians, you get a very different picture. Rather than having 4 Persian kings, in reality we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And rather than having from Cyrus to Darius a total of 52 years, you have Cyrus, then Cambyses, who's not mentioned in our in Sefer Ezra, and then someone else who's king only for a few months, then Darius the first, Artaxerxes, Darius the second, Artaxerxes the second, Artaxerxes the third, Artaxerxes and Darius. And if you do the math, extending from year 560 all the way to year 331, the Persian dynasty now lasts, instead of lasting only 52 years as we had prior, the Persian dynasty actually lasts, in this case, a total of approximately 230 years. From 560 to 330 is approximately 200 and then 30 more years, in which case what we have is a gap of anywhere from 160, 170 years. So 230 minus 52, so we have now a gap of about, give or take, 180 years, and these are known as the 180 missing years in Jewish history, because we don't know, and according to our Jewish calendar, these years didn't happen. According to the conventional calendar, these years did, and this is going to cause a lot of problems for us, and we're going to have to deal with this problem when we get to class.